Well, hey there. My name's Dale Schaeffer, and I'm currently serving as the district superintendent for the Church of the Nazarene on the Florida district, which is like central and northern Florida. What I want to talk to you today about is being on a team, and what does it mean to be on a denominational team? Because to be a part of the Church of the Nazarene is so much more than being a pastor of a local church. The Church of the Nazarene has kind of three core values. We're a Christian church, we're a holiness church, and we're a missional church. Now, I love those three core values, but I've always been of the belief that we really need a fourth core value to embody who we are as Nazarenes, and that fourth value is that we're a connectional church. Absolutely, we're Christian. Absolutely, we're holiness. Absolutely, we're a missional church. But I think part of what makes us uniquely Nazarene is our connectional nature. Throughout our history, we've never seen ourselves as being a bunch of independent, kind of autonomous churches and pastors doing our thing in our local community. No, we've always had this sense of connectionalism within our church. So local churches are connected to one another, and district churches are connected to one another, and even a church in Medford, Oregon can find a way that it's connected to a church in Haiti, or a church that's connected in Serbia. And so we're a connectional church. What I'm talking about is we're a church that really operates like a team. And so what does it mean to be on a team? I think the first principle that I would emphasize in the local church is the principle of servant leadership. That to be on a team, whether you're a NYI president, whether you're a youth pastor, a staff pastor, a lead pastor, a solo pastor, to be a part of a team in the local church means that I operate with servant leadership no matter what role that God's placed me in. I remember when I was serving in youth ministry, we had an intern that had the opportunity to serve with us for the summer. And following the Sunday morning service, we had a big fellowship planned in the gym. And I walked down there with this intern, and he was a great young man, and we walked into the gym. And to get ready for the lunch, there were a bunch of round tables that needed to get set up, and a bunch of chairs that needed to get tore down from the children's ministry that had used the space earlier in the day. And as I began to roll a table across the floor, I looked at this intern and I said, "Hey, give me a hand and let's roll this table." And he very seriously looked at me and he said, "That's not my job, man. I'm here to pastor." Now, I know that sounds kind of ridiculous, and that as a pastor, we wouldn't think of saying those kind of things, and yet oftentimes we find ourselves thinking things like that. And so I would just say this, that saying it's not my job is never an option for us as pastors in ministry. It doesn't mean we don't have healthy boundaries, but what we do is we operate with an owner's mentality. We operate with a servant leader's mindset that says, I'm going to do whatever it takes in order to help the mission be accomplished here. So the first thing I just say is this, servant leadership, that's what it looks like to be on a team in the local church. Now, what's it look like at the district level? You're probably going to have some opportunities as you begin in ministry roles to be invited into leadership on youth councils and Sunday school ministries councils and children's councils. And I want to encourage you, beyond what you do for the local church, find at least one place on the district where you're going to serve and plug in a consistent way. Now, the other thing I'd say about being on a district team, it doesn't only mean that we serve with our time, but we serve with the way that we speak about district leaders or about district activities. So rather than speaking cynically or negatively about district or denominational culture, we speak positively and affirmingly. Now, for someone that's now in a district leadership role, that may sound like I'm just kind of serving my own interest. But let me tell you a quick story. When I was a church planter, there were some times where I allowed cynicism and negativity to infect my language. And it didn't just come out of my mouth, and it wasn't just coming out of my heart, but it was coming out of my team's heart as well. And I remember the day that one of our staff pastors came to me and said, "Hey, I don't feel good about the way that we talk about the district around here. I don't feel good about the way that we embody cynicism in our communication with each other towards the district and even sometimes towards the denomination." And so she pulled out a glass jar, And she set it on the office counter and said, let's make a commitment to each other that every time we catch one of us saying something negative or cynical about the denomination or about the district, that we'll have to put $1 in the cynicism swear jar. And we said, yeah, we could do that. And so for about the next 2 months, every time one of us said something cynical or negative about the denomination or the district, we pulled $1 out and we put it in the swear jar. And I have to confess that there was probably $30 or $40 in there by the end of the 2 months. But I also have to say that within 3 months, this simple practice had completely eradicated cynicism and negativity, and we became more connected and more caring about the other churches in our district and the leaders of our district than we ever had been before. So, one, find a place to serve. Two, refuse to speak negatively and do whatever it takes to retrain yourself in order to be a contributing part of the district team. The last thing I'd say is just about being on a global team. What's that look like? I tell you, some of my greatest joys in ministry have come from being a part of a global team. Whether that is going to our universities like NNU or Olivet when I pastored in Illinois, or here in Florida going to Trevecca. But being on campus with college students, with other pastors, connecting for shared learning experiences, and the networking that takes place there, the connecting, the care that takes place in those environments, the relationship building with developing students as I'm a pastor and have a chance to kind of meet up and coming young students within our denomination. Man, there is so much joy that comes from that. I would just tell you, as you begin to get engaged in the local church, as you engage in the district church, don't neglect getting connected to the broader global church. Stay connected to our college campuses. Stay connected to the global work of the Church of the Nazarene through being a part of long-term global missions partnerships. I love working witness, but I've found that there's nothing like establishing a long-term, year-over-year missional partnership with a community where there's a reciprocal relationship. When I was in Medford, we did that with a church in Haiti in a place called Font Parisien, and we had a partnership with a school and a church there, and every year we'd visit them, and about every other year someone from there would come and visit us, and it was a reciprocal relationship. We did the same thing in Mexico, and we're getting to do the same thing in Serbia. Find a way for your church to partner in a long-term missional partnership at the global level. What I want you to hear is this: we truly are a global family, and nothing is going to help you to feel more a part of that global family than jumping in and getting connected to that family through service. As a ministry mentor told me early in my ministry, he said this, he said, sweat is the juice of unity. I know that's gross to think about, but when we sweat and when we work together, it produces unity in the church. And so if you want unity, you have to work for it. And I think that's part of what it means to be on a district team, a local team, and a global church team.